What is up, team? Happy Tuesday. Your boy's been working hard today, all week, all year, really. But we've got a lot to talk about today. I do want to get through a couple things. Want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to add value. Listen, if you're in my life, I'm going to try to add value. I always knock that off. I'm old school, so I have clipboard. I write notes down. That's how I do stuff. And for some reason, I like to knock my clipboard down. Sorry for the annoyance. Derrick Evans here, VA Home Loan Specialist, NMLS 155010. Let's get the formalities out of the way. You know, if you have a veteran who wants to buy a refi, to have them give me a call, right? Yeah, you know that. Okay. So let's jump in here because I'm going to look at mortgage rates first. We're going to start there. I want to tell you about what's actually brewing today. I mean, man, I may have to eat some crow. I may. About what's going on here. Let me just tell you where my head was at on this before today's candle came into play. Okay, we've had a big run up. Just remember, where we've come from. We go back to January here. Big downtrend. This was the bond market signaling inflation to us. We did not know that at the time, but this was the bond market signaling massive inflation is coming. We're going to kill it. We lost 300 basis points, just like that, or 400, I think. No, it was 400 basis points, something like that, from top to bottom. And of course, when bond prices go down, mortgage rates go up. Now, we've had a very nice recovery here, and this looks really good. This, a few days was pretty bad. There's some inflation data that came out that clearly the market didn't like, but it's still fighting higher. Now, what I'm seeing and what the reason why I've been encouraging people to lock, even though Barry Abebe, who runs the site, MBS Highway, has not given us the go-ahead to lock in this cycle yet, or at least he hasn't for a few days or a week, I think. But look what's forming here. And I've noticed that Barry didn't talk about this, and I don't know if it's that he doesn't see it. Sometimes you see what you want to see. This right here is just sort of a textbook head and shoulders pattern, which usually leads to much lower prices. Okay, it's very, very textbook. Remember, this is also coming off of a downtrend. We weren't able to get quite there, but if this price had gotten all the way up to here, where this was a straight line, then I would say is absolutely textbook. We didn't get that high. If we had gotten that high, just a little bit higher than we achieved, it would be absolutely textbook, head and shoulders, and continuation lower. That would lead you to believe that interest rates are going to go much higher. So sorry for all the technical analysis, but hey, this points to lower bond prices, which points to higher mortgage rates. However, look at this. Look at it. Let's zoom in a little. We got the candle from God today. Look at this thing. It broke right through. This is the barrier, by the way, that we knocked on the door a bunch of times. Same thing, here. So we knocked on the door a couple times here. Then took another 3 or 4 tries to get through it. This resistance level here, this is a 236 on the Fibonacci retracement. Very, very important to breach this. We broached it. But then when we got to the 100-day moving average, we got killed. And we tried to get through there twice, got killed. Now we're back at this point. And look, we closed above it again. I can't believe it. I thought for sure we were coming to come up and touch this thing and go down. That would have been a really picture-perfect head and shoulders pattern. We broke through. Now, the bad news is the 100-day moving average is very close, about 15 basis points away. But if we can somehow get through this tomorrow and close up here, we might go, head back to the all-time lows for mortgage rates. That's totally possible, which would be amazing. We'd still have to, broach the 200-day, which is going to cause problems. But that'd be the only thing between us and the all-time lows for mortgage rates, all-time highs for these bonds. I'm looking at the Fannie Mae 2.5% coupon here, not the Ginnies or the other coupons that are out there. We always look at the one with whatever one Barry's looking at, is the one we look at. So I'm telling everyone, expect higher rates. If rates go lower, rates go back to the all-time lows, all is going to happen is it's just going to fuel this market to go even crazier than it is. I posted something on Facebook today in case you didn't see it. I know the algorithm sucks when you post external links, but basically, this is an article from CNBC that said, hey, get ready. Rents are rising fast again, even in San Francisco. Can you believe they said that? Even in San Francisco. It's like everybody knows what a joke that is, what a dump San Francisco is. No offense. But I've been saying this for years. San Diego, dramatically better on every single front than San Francisco. Why are we half the cost? People are starting to realize this. Anyway, CNBC, that's funny. The reason this is important because I have a client, real talk. I have 2 real stories that have happened to me in the last 24 hours that will give some context as to what's going on here. And by the way, say hi. We are live. If you want to say what's up, I will get to comments for sure. I will say what's up back. So the rental situation in San Diego is just as crazy as the purchase situation, maybe even crazier. This gentleman is buying a home, and the house he's living in right now has been a rental of his before. He moved back into it. Now he's, so he could buy another one. Now he's buying another one. He's like, hey, I've rented this house before many times. I have other properties too. I've rented houses in San Diego for years. He said, I've never seen this. I had over 100 people apply within 24 hours to rent my house. He said the thing that was crazy wasn't just the quantity, but the quality. He said there were doctors, executives, there were people who had vice presidents of huge salaries, people very well qualified, most likely to buy houses. That's what it felt like to him. He even had a guy who offered to pay the first year's rent in all cash. Does that sound familiar? What in the world? This is inflation. Okay. Inflation is something that a lot of people can't get their head around. And it took me a long time to really understand what it is and how it looks. I'm going to give you another real life example. I am trying to buy a Tahoe. I have a smaller car. It's hurting my back. Had a lot of back problems. When I had my Tahoe, my back was the best. So I'm going to go buy another Tahoe. I reach out to the car dealership. They're like, we don't have any Tahoes. What? You don't have, you're a Chevy dealer. You don't have any Tahoes? No. How could you be a Chevy dealer and not have any Tahoes? So they don't have any Tahoes. So he calls me today and says, hey, 2 of them just came off the truck. There's 20 people who are trying to buy Tahoes right now. Here's the sticker for each one of them. If you want it, you pretty much have to buy it right now. You got to come down here right now and buy it, or they're going to be gone by the end of the day. How is that possible? Huge, expensive vehicle, $50-some thousand car, and they can't even keep them on the lot. I've heard the same thing from other big ticket items like boats and other rental equipment, ATVs, motorcycles, things like this. It's inflation. There's too much money in the room. So it's just going everywhere. This is what happens when there's lots of money in the room. It just goes everywhere. And we're finally seeing the results of all the money that's been printed since the financial crisis. In my opinion, that wave is finally coming. It is just beginning. This could last a decade. This could last forever. There's nothing that can really stop this except for the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not interested. In fact, no, not that one. Nope, not that one. This one. I have several things to show you today. George, what's her first name? Last name is George. I can't remember her first name. Oh, here, that'll show us. Esther George, who is from the Kansas City Fed. She said, I'll save this. I'll just read to you the most important thing that she said, which is this quote right here. She said, the structure of the economy changes over time, and it will be important to adapt to new circumstances rather than adhere to a rigid formulation of policy reactions, she said. With a tremendous amount of fiscal stimulus flowing through the economy, the landscape could unfold quite differently than the one that shaped the thinking. What she's saying is, hello, McFly. We don't have the same circumstances in place in our economy today that we did when the policies that were made that you're following were created. This is the nicest way to say, you're screwing it up. You're screwing it up. Inflation is worse than you think. You're going to be too late to act. This is going to cause a catastrophe at some point. When will it be? Will it be 3 years from now? Will it be 30 years from now? Will it be our grandkids who are dealing with this? I don't know. But she's basically saying, hey, you've got to start looking at this. Inside this article, it does tell you about, how the Fed has been buying $120 billion a month in bonds. That's over $1 trillion. It's 1.4 trillion. $1.4 trillion, $1.44 trillion per year buying bonds. Per year buying bonds. Bonds, by the way, if the inflation data is correct, are absolutely screwed. And this is part of the entanglement and part of the conflict of interest situation that we're in. Remember, the Fed is buying all these bonds, 1.44 trillion per year at the pace they're on right now. How many trillions of dollars in bonds does the Fed own? Well, if inflation is the arch enemy of bonds and the Fed is heavily invested in bonds, you'd think they want to fight inflation. The problem is, just by simply acknowledging the true level of inflation. They could devalue their assets dramatically and, frankly, immediately. They're not going to do that. This is the reason why we are not seeing the Fed acknowledge the true inflation that's taking place. Another thing she said here. The bulk of the this is from CNBC. Bulk of Fed officials suspects the price pressures stem from temporary problems that will ease in the coming months. In other words, they're thinking it's just going to go away. Well, this is just going to go away. She said, quote, "I am not inclined to dismiss today's pricing signals or to be overly reliant on historical relationships and dynamics in judging the outlook for inflation." She's smart. They're not. It's that simple. She's seeing exactly what's going on. And she sees that the reaction that the Fed is taking, the steps that they're taking, are not going to work. So ultimately, this is terrific if you own assets. If you own, I'm looking at selling a car that I'm probably going to make money on. If you own assets, even cars, which are terrible, real estate, so good. Why are houses so expensive? People keep asking me this. I'm going to actually answer the question that I posed. What was the question? My man, what's going on, Carlos? Nelson, how you doing, brother? Say what's up if you want. We are live. So, is it too late to buy? This is the question that a lot of buyers, especially first-time buyers, are asking. Am I too late? Am I buying at the top? Is this right before the crash is coming? All of these things I'm talking to you about, when I talk about inflation affecting real estate, when we talk about these macro economic things, there's nothing that can stop. I don't even think if the Fed woke up, let's say Jerome Powell woke up, had a dream, God visited him, said, "You're screwing up." And he goes, "Okay, the only thing I know how to do is raise rates. I'm going to raise rates 2% today. And this happens tomorrow." I still don't think that would fix it. And there's no way in the world that's going to happen. I don't know how this fixes itself. Usually when that happens, you're going to see a bubble blow up and then explode at some point. Where will that bubble be? Is it going to be in stocks? Is it going to be in real estate, cryptocurrency? We can get to that in a second. But if we just look at why houses are costing so much right now, just remember, we have certain things that play out over time. One of those things is population. Population is increasing. Because the population is increasing, if you're unable to build a certain amount of homes, you're naturally going to have a supply chain issue. Right now, there are a lot of reasons for that. We'll talk about a couple of them. Houses in the U.S. cost 13.2% more in March than they did the same time last year. When COVID hit, before COVID was really impacting anything. So that's a very true and clean number, 13.2%. And that's across the United States. So some people are like, well, I've seen this happen in San Diego before. The last time things ran up, it was crazy. There were bidding wars, and then the market crashed shortly, not that long after, maybe a year or two later. So that's probably going to happen this time. No, this is not a San Diego thing. This is literally real estate everywhere, car dealerships everywhere, because inflation doesn't know geography. So being in a better place to live, like San Diego, is a much better place to be stuck in a house if you were to buy one and, values were to go down, which I don't see happening in the next few years. Much better to be stuck in a house here than in Iowa. No offense, Iowa. Or Nebraska. Offense, Nebraska. And so if you look at, 13.2%, how does that broken down? This is actually a really good article. I will put this in the link on YouTube, the YouTube link where this is going to get uploaded to. So, and it just goes and just lays out everything. The number of houses for sale, by the way, in the country, down 20% year over year. So inventory is an issue everywhere. They put in some stuff in here about building costs and mortgage rates being lower. It's very, very simple article. There's a good video here that's more in depth. And this is actually really good to if you want to learn some stuff about what's going on with this, to watch this. So check that link out. Let's see. We got that one. We got that one. The last one. Okay, markets. So to answer the question, we look at the U.S. markets were down a little bit today, which is what I think helped the bond market. Oil was relatively flat today, not a whole lot going on there. Gold's actually trying to knock on 1900's door there. Bitcoin and most of the cryptos were a little bit up today, pretty relatively flat on Bitcoin. And so a relatively quiet day. We do have the infrastructure package that looks like it's getting brought to the fray, but for the buyers, oh yeah, that's what it was. I have a question. Here's a question that I got from one of the last videos I made. This one, and I know Ashley, you probably saw this comment on there. I've known her for years. She's awesome. She lives in the Kansas City area. So she said, please tell me I'm debating selling my home, making $200K and renting until it crashes, then buy again with a big cash down payment. I'm torn. Also, any advice on investing in crypto? So the question is just, do you want to trade your house like a stock? My suggestion is not to do that. But if you are already looking to sell anyway, if you want a smaller house or a bigger house or want to live in a different area, then yeah, great time. Go ahead and buy, or go ahead and sell. And then, you can lay in the cut a little bit and see if you can find a deal. Maybe, if you have time, if you can get into a short-term rental or stay with parents or whatever. But the bottom line is, real estate is not necessarily meant to be a trading tool to make cash. It's meant to be a safe haven for your retirement strategy. If you own a home free and clear, you're going to be okay long run, right? And so that's really the idea. As far as investing in crypto, don't invest any money you're not okay with losing. I would suggest not buying shit coins. Don't buy all these, weird coins. Buy Ethereum, buy Bitcoin, buy however much you feel comfortable with potentially losing 100% of, and, buy it in small increments on a regular basis. That's the safest, smartest way to play it. I do think if we fast forward a decade, a lot of people are going to be like, damn it. I had so many friends on Facebook talking about buying Bitcoin. I can't believe I didn't do it. They're going to FOMO in. They're going to FOMO in when Bitcoin's at 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, one of those numbers, and they're going to FOMO in. So buy a small amount right now. When you get the chance, when it doubles, sell your cost basis out. That's the safest thing to do. Safest thing to do. If you want to be more aggressive, buy more, hold it, and just try to forget about it. Try not to look at it. Try to forget about it. Leave it there for a few years, at least till 2025. 2025, I think you're going to see by then there's going to be a much higher price tag on the premium coins. I'm going to say Cardano, ADA, Ethereum, ETH, and of course Bitcoin, BTC. The other ones, I don't know. I don't know if there's another coin that has, a true use that can survive the potential onslaught of a bad market, which is going to happen in crypto from time to time. So just keep that in mind. Is it too late to buy? No. Well, the best time to buy real estate, remember, is always 20 years ago. I mean, anyone ever asks you, when's the best time to buy real estate? 20 years ago, always. Now, historically speaking, we're heading into the months that are better for buyers. Typically in the San Diego real estate cycle, April and May are where you get the highest price per square foot. So those are technically considered to be the best time for sellers. And by the way, that's when the transactions record. So, those are people who are listing their homes in February and March and April that are selling in April and May. And then the ones that close in, June, July, and August is where you see a lower price per square foot than those times when you see more inventory typically. So the inventory we're dying for at this point. And I don't see a catalyst to really bring this up. Oh, good question, Nelson, on XRP. Listen, I own XRP. And I think it's one of those things that's worth owning. I do. But I don't expect anything out of it. I bought it at the top. I bought it at the absolute worst possible time in 2018 and just put it away, just stuck it away. And that's exactly where I'm going to keep it, until it does something or it goes to zero, whatever. It's a lottery ticket. When you're buying those penny cryptos, it's basically just a lottery ticket. You hope it works out, but you got to put your expectations in check, So for getting in to real estate, for people, for example, I talked to a buyer today who was like, I wonder if this is a bad time. He said, I've had some brokers that I know tell me, hey, this might not be a great time to buy. And it just depends on, are you trying to trade your house like a stock, or are you trying to make a long-term investment in your retirement strategy? The data is crazy, but it's almost exactly correlates. The percentage of people who retire, we say on time, by the age of 66 is the age they're using now. People who retire on time, the percentage of people who retire on time is almost the exact same as the percentage of people who have paid off homes. Okay. So no matter what anyone tells you, oh, well, I'm always going to want to work, or, I'm not too worried about that. Just note that at some point you may want to take it easy. At some point you may want to spend time with your grandkids. At some point you may want to actually, kick back, relax a little bit, spend time chilling. If you have a paid off house, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to do that. A hell of a lot easier. If you have a mortgage payment you're still making by that time, you're probably going to want to continue to work until that thing's paid off. So don't make that a forever thing. Get the clock started. But more importantly, just understand what you're doing. When you buy real estate, what are you doing? You're hedging, okay, against multiple things. Okay, you're hedging your housing cost, right? Your housing cost is something that if you're a renter, for example, it never goes away. You're paying $2,500, $3,000 a month. The cost is going to go higher every month or every year, and you're going to pay it for every month for the rest of your life. When you buy a home, what you're doing is you are saying, I'm going to hedge my costs. So I'm going to pay this much per month. And it's going to be that much for 30 years. It may fluctuate a little bit with taxes and insurance costs. Those go up or down a small amount, but nothing significant. You're hedging your cost. Here's what it is, flattening that out over the course of the timeline. And then eventually it goes to zero when you pay it off. So you're hedging against your housing cost, your monthly housing payment, and you're also hedging against, that's right, it's the key word of the day, inflation. You're hedging against inflation. A lot of people who sell homes, a lot of people who promote real estate don't talk about this enough because we've never really seen massive inflation. But owning a home is 100% a hedge against inflation. And the type of inflation that we're beginning to see right now is this. I mean, we may have some record-breaking stuff going on, and they're not being honest with us about the numbers. So we wouldn't really know. But do we want to really see inflation go away? Some people will. And people who will get hurt the most by the inflation will be people who are already considered to be, below median income, people who are considered to be poor. This is the poor group here. They're making less than this much. I forget what they call it, the poverty level. There's different ways to describe it. People who are already struggling financially are going to be hurt the most by this. They're going to be set back the most by this because they're missing out on massive runs and appreciation. I mean, how many people do you know are cashing out massive amounts of money and just leaving California altogether? How many people, do you know who have made a ton of money in real estate one way or the other? A bunch. So, is it too late to buy? It's always too late to buy. You should have bought by now. So the question is, are you still going to be in that boat next year and the year after that and the year after that? Where are you going to be? Because if you're betting right now on a real estate crash, what you're really doing is you're saying, I'm not going to buy real estate for 5 or 10 years. And if you're going to do that, obviously it takes some stones to make a call like that. If you're going to do that, then you best make sure in the next 5 to 10 years, while you're waiting on the sidelines and watching prices increase and hoping that they eventually come down, you must accept the fact that they may not come back down this low ever again. And so if that's true, what are you going to do? Also, make sure you're saving money. If you are going to make a bet that real estate's going to crash, it may take several years for this to happen. You better be saving money during that time because the last thing you want is for you to be right and then not be able to take advantage of it. I don't think you'll be right. And I will take a bet with anyone. Anyone who wants to make a bet between now and 2025, we won't see a real estate crash. I'll bet whatever. So anyone who wants to make a bet, you let me know. We make bet. We make official. So it's not too late. Don't treat houses like they're a stock that you buy and sell. Not a good idea. Think about how you're setting yourself up for retirement, how you're setting yourself up for financial freedom. So remember, if you pay your house off, your biggest expense is gone, unless you have kids. And then in which case it's not gone. Just one of your big expenses is gone. Jokes. I have 3 kids, so I can say this. But the bottom line is your biggest fixed expense, which is going to cause a problem for you if you don't pay it off when you do have to retire or when you do want to retire, is going to be your house. So if it's going to take 30 years to pay it off, or maybe you're going to accelerate payments and you're going to pay it off in 27 or 25 years, would you like to start that clock now, or do you want to wait? Me, I'd rather start the clock as soon as possible. Now, if you're in a situation where you have to rent for whatever reason, the credit's struggling, maybe you had a BK, maybe you just started your self-employment, it's going to be a couple years, that's okay. Just save some money. Make sure you live within your means, save your money, put yourself in a position for success. Look, these types of game planning, this stuff we do all the time, stuff I do all the time for people who want to create a roadmap to ultimately own something, you can do that. You just have to know what to do. And I know what to do, so I can help you do that. Anyway, so a lot today that we went over, that we went through. I just want to reiterate one thing that we're going to be looking at for tomorrow. Let me go ahead and get this shared again. This is the big deal. Mortgage rates. Tomorrow is a massive day. Tomorrow is so big. Now, there's nothing that says that, we can't see this do the same thing that these guys did over here. It's totally possible. It's totally possible this pattern may repeat itself, that we go up and it looks like we're going to close and we're headed to the moon, and then we end up closing below the line. And then we get up there again in midday, we're like, yes. And then no, it comes down and then it catapults and crashes lower. That is totally possible. However, if we can get another candle tomorrow, like this guy right here, and it just goes brrr, then we are looking really good, fam. Really, really good on the interest rate front. I've been locking a lot in this vicinity here, okay, expecting this to fail, and I've been wrong. As we just read, the Fed is buying bonds at an insane pace, and to the tune of about $5 billion a day on average. Now, $6 billion a day on average. So that's a lot. And it's not the kind of win that you want to pee into, okay? But for some reason, we've seen big moves down in bonds, which means that big players are exiting the space. That means there's some people who don't believe in it, who don't even want to be in bonds, knowing that the Fed is in there buying. Also knowing that the Fed is going to have to defend their position in these bonds because they own trillions of dollars of these bonds. They can't let them go too low. They have to manipulate the market. They have to keep the prices higher because they are the ones who also were buying at the top. So I would not want to see the Fed's balance sheet with regard to where they stand on these bonds. But I can tell you this, they have a lot to lose. So maybe that will win in the end. Maybe common sense, reality won't. That's fine. Listen, the whole reason I look at CNBC, don't kid yourself either. CNBC is a paid propaganda site. Like when you see someone come on and do an interview from XYZ fund or whatever, they're paying to be on there, okay? But when you know what the reality is, you can make better decisions. So if it's the case that the Fed is going to take this next leg up right here and they're going to show us that they're willing to do it, to throw the money at it, to take it there, okay, we'll act accordingly. What would record low interest rates do to this already insane real estate market across the country? I don't know. I think you would see even more buyers enter than what we already have. It could get even crazier. So let's keep a close eye on that. If this fails, which is what I expect, and I'm not just being pessimistic, I actually expect that. We had the head and shoulders I talked to you about here. If it does fail, then what? Now we're going to really see where the rubber meets the road. If rates do get hit, and by the way, they're still amazing right now, incredible. If rates do get hit, then we have to take a look and see. All right, this will be the second time that rates have been hit during this cycle. There's a little more buyer fatigue now. Homes are priced a little bit closer where they're going to sell now. That's been the big thing, right? The market was in a frenzy because sellers and listing agents didn't really know where to price homes. These things were going for 100, 150,000 above list. You're going to see a lot less of that because list prices are going up. Average list prices are going up. I'm going to show you those stats tomorrow. And so because the listing prices are going up, a lot of people aren't seeing those houses. They're not showing up in their search. And therefore, they're not making offers. They're not viewing those homes. So you're going to see less viewings. You're going to see less offers, but you're still going to see a very hot market. Still going to see a very, very hot market. And if a home is unique, if a home is a really good one, there's going to be a lot of people who want it. I've got buyers who are approved, in million plus, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, They're out there looking at houses that are listed right at $1 million that are selling for 1.2, 1.3. It's crazy. So just expect that. And for, a lot of people who have given this market a go and they, exited, couldn't take it. I hear that from a lot of buyers. Yeah, we're going to take a break. It's just too much. We're spending so much time on this. I feel like we're not getting anywhere. We're going to take a break. I understand. But just know that if you're feeling that, oh, we should take a break. There's other people who are too. And when is the opportunity really going to show up? That's when a bunch of people say we're taking a break, and then the one couple that doesn't take a break, they're going to be the ones who are able to go in and get a deal. So don't give up on the market. Don't give up on yourself. Know that the process may be difficult, but know that it's quite possible we may not see rates this low again. If I'm right about this movement going this way, I mean, it's not going to be good, team. It's going to be pretty violent, I think. I hope I'm wrong. Really do. I want to see lower rates. Just selfishly for my own business, I'd love to see lower rates. I hope that's what we see. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I really hope I'm wrong. If that happens, we have a whole different problem on our hands. So let's see what transpires tomorrow. We'll take a look. We'll go through it. This is true. Let's add Camille's comment to Camille's grade. What's up, Camille? She said it needs to adjust. And a lot of the savvy agents who have been in the business for a while, like Camille, I hear them say this: the salaries in San Diego are not keeping up with the housing increases. And it's true. It's true. We do need prices to chill. I'm just concerned, team, that that's not what's going to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to continue to see San Diego become the San Francisco of old. This is going to be 20 years from now, 25 years from now, 30 years from now. San Diego will be the primo place to live in the United States. And, Miami, and there's some places in Florida that are making a stand for that right now. There's places in Texas that are taking a stand for that right now. San Diego, though, all encompassing, every aspect, you include it all, is going to be the primo place to live, America's finest city. And we all have known this for a long time. It's been tough to communicate to people who didn't know. You just have to come here. How did you get to San Diego? I'll tell you how I came. I came on a trip, fell in love immediately. It's like, wait a minute, people live like this? Yeah, going to have to be me too. It would have been insane FOMO to go back to Missouri and not have in my head, I'm gonna live there one day. I'm gonna live there one day. I'm gonna live there one day. This is a place that does that to people. I've never been anywhere that does that, ever. I've been all over the world. All right, that's it for my soapbox today, guys. I'm going to have some more information tomorrow. Let's keep an eye on these rates and see what happens. If you need me, there's a way I can add value to you, your business, your life. Let me know. If you know a veteran who wants to buy or refi, have them give me a call. My number's on here. You can call or text, email me, NMLS 155010. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.